Hi, I'm Rebecca. Welcome to my sewing room. This is Sew Be It. Today, I will be making Simplicity 4032. I will be making View B. I don't think that I have planned any alterations from this pattern, so this is going to be somewhat of a tutorial. That's a lie. I do have a couple alterations, but that was actually on style choice, so it's still going to be somewhat of a tutorial. There's a whole list on the back. There's so many different fabrics that this could be in. So I chose a fleece because I thought it would be the most versatile, most comfortable, most wearable, and probably, since I'm a beginner to jackets, as this will be my first jacket, probably the easiest to use as well. So the fleece that I picked is, I got it from JoAnn's. I got it quite a while ago now, so I'm having a hard time remembering. It is their early fall winter fleece that they have, so it's not terribly heavy. But it is still a nice pile. I wanted to go with just a plain deep purple, like a plum purple, but they only had like a lilac, and I didn't want that, and I didn't want any of the other solid colors they had. I wanted a purple, but I found this purple plaid and I decided to settle with it. And over time, I think I've actually really fallen in love with it, and I'm hoping this jacket will turn out quite nice. So for my jacket, I have the purple fleece. View B, if you look here, is the purple jacket on the front. It has buttons, a ruffle, and a sash. According to the back and the directions, it expects you to do the ruffle and the sash out of the same fabric. I chose to not do that. I'm making my sash out of the fleece. I might have to alter it a little bit so that it works and will tie good, but I already cut out the pattern, so I'm just gonna go with that. And the ruffle, I couldn't find a good fabric that I liked. I wanted black, but I wasn't really sure other than that. So I actually found a pre-made ruffle in a satin, because the ruffle, let me look at the fabrics for that. Velvet, satin, stretch velvet, organza, or chiffon. So this is a ruffle in satin. That's the front, the right side. That is the wrong side. You can tell it's the wrong side because the top has been folded over and sewn, but the bottom is not quite as shiny, so you know it's the wrong side. So I think, and now that I'm looking at it, I don't know that I actually got enough length to do everything that it plans on for the ruffle. So I might have to decide how much and where exactly I will be having the ruffle. I might only have enough for possibly around the collar and maybe the cuffs. I don't know that I'll have enough to do all of it. So we'll figure it out as I go. Finally, since I have buttons on my jacket, I found these really cool black kind of fabric looking buttons, but they are a plastic. There you go, you kind of see it a little bit better there. But I thought those would look good. So I am at the stage now. I have all of my pieces cut out. I have not cut out my interfacing yet, but that's because I still have all the pieces pinned to my pattern pieces, and I don't want to mix those up right now. So I will cut out the interfacing as I'm going this time, which is not like me. So I'm ready to get started, and we'll see what my first step is, and I'll be back. According to directions, I have to pin my front pieces together. So pin the front to the side front, and then stitch the seams. So these two are my front pieces and these are my side front pieces. So right sides together, these two are gonna go together. And we're gonna stitch these seams. So I'll do one and show you how that works. Okay, so I have a notch here and a notch here, and I do have the same notches on this piece, which are here and here. So those we have to match first. And then I'm going to match my edges here, which is my neckline edge, which matches up perfectly, which I know. Sometimes I overpin, but it helps keep my fabric in place and less slippage. My end product, my finished product, always looks better the more pins I use. All right, we're gonna do the same thing down here, match these ends. And then this seam you can see is a little bit shorter than the other one because of this curve for the bust area. So I have to clip this shorter edge within the seam allowance and spread it out. I learned that when I made my first princess seam dress, and that was the only way to make it fit and not be bumpy. So I'm going to make small little clips just inside this edge. Though they don't even go in as far as the notches, if you can tell that. Oops. So now we can fit this on here, hopefully. Try to start at the center. Yep, that actually should work perfectly. That gives it just a little bit of space in there to keep. You don't have to really put ease in it so that it doesn't bunch up. Now we can stitch. Okay, that is the first step, the first seam. We have to press this and I will also do the other piece and I'll be back. Next step in the jacket making process is to sew the two back pieces together at the back seam. I've clipped it, I haven't even moved it, so I'm not even going to pin it. I'm going to go slow and I'm going to sew it the way it is right now. I'm gonna go press this seam now that that is finished. There is the back piece that actually is pretty well lined up. Pretty proud of how this is turning out. Okay, after stitching the back piece together with right sides together, so stitch front to back at side back and shoulder seams. So the side seams here, I don't know why they call them side back, and shoulder. This here is my first front piece. I think that turned out quite nicely as well. Let's see how well they line up. Let me flip this around. Oh, that's right, right sides together. Duh. Brain doesn't always like to function. That they actually line up quite nicely over here. I'm gonna pin this piece. I don't want this to move on me. I was wondering what that little notch was for. The seam allowance. Didn't realize that. I've never seen that before. Go line up my notches. My notches are lined up right there. Not lined up perfect, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about it. It's close, and this is my first plaid that I've had to line up like this. Okay, now that that's pinned, we can stitch that. Not want to go fast. I will not have it go fast. It does not love this fabric. The thread's not right. It's about to break. Again. What is going on with you? Why are you doing that? I don't know. I never had such problems with this thread. Try this again. Now that it took me 8 tries to get through it, we'll trim all of our threads now. I will go ahead and do the other side seam, and I'll come back for the shoulder seams. Both side seams are completed. That's the one you watched, and there's this one I just did. Next step is shoulder seams. So we need to pin those. I have a notch here and a notch here. So those 2 notches are going to match up right there. That's all I got for shoulder notches. So now I will match edges here and we will pin. Same thing over here, notch on the outside, right there, they meet up. This fleece is actually quite easy to work with the exception of the pile that my machine does not seem to absolutely love. It doesn't seem to be bad, and it's not like slipping and sliding on me, so that's nice. Okay, let's get stitching. Okay, I'm gonna go press these 4 seams and I will be back for our next step on the jacket. The next step, now that I have my front and back stitched together, basically have a coat. Look at that. Well, a vest. It doesn't have sleeves, so it can't be a coat. The next thing is, this is the facing of my collar. I have to stitch the collar facing to the garment along the neck edge that you can't see here, along this whole neck edge that it's supposed to be on. Matching centers, back and large dots, placing small dot at the shoulder seam, baste, stitch, seam, trim, seam, press, seam, open. So I need to get this notched and marked. So first thing to do is pin them with the right sides together. So let's open it up this way. Here's my back notches on the jacket. Right side, and the back notches right here, and I did accidentally cut them in the wrong spot, so they are not perfect, but they're very, very close. So we will go with that. Let's start pinning. All right, ouch. Now that I'm all pinned, turn it back on. Let's go ahead and stitch these together. Trim seam and press seam open. I'm going to trim the seam that has the other seams crossing it, or the side that has the other seams crossing it. Because that will also get rid of some of the bulk at the seams. Now I will go press and be back for the next step. Okay, and then it says to make the ruffle, but I don't need to gather, or I don't need to make the ruffle because I bought one. So on the outside, so on the right side of my jacket, I have to pin the ruffle to the front collar and edges, placing the finished end and small dot on the right front and tapering end at the large dot on the left front. To start over on this side and work my way around that way. Right side to wrong side of the seam, so. And it needs to go this way, okay. Yes, I'm doing it right. Let's see how far this will take me. Maybe I can do the whole thing. I would like to be able to do the whole front edge. But we'll see how far I get. Since this is satin, I will again be using a lot of pins. So once it's pinned, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video. Once it's pinned, I'll come back while I stitch. So the ribbon is pinned on the whole thing. I did decide to pin all the way down the front. It is going to be a little bit short. By the time I hem the jacket, it'll be about an inch off of where the end is going to be, but I really want the ruffle to go all the way down. I don't have any more, so I don't have enough for the sleeves, obviously. So I really did want it to go all the way down the front. So that's where we're at. Right now it says I need to baste the ruffle on instead of stitching. So let's go ahead and baste. Next step, pin the wrong side of the collar. Just had it. This one right here, wrong side of the collar. To the right side of the garment along the neck edge, matching centers back, placing small dots at shoulder seams. Oh wait, I think that's for view. Hold on, I think that's for view C. That's not for me. Hold on, here we are. Oh, I need to cut out my fusible interfacing on my collar facing, which is this, and my front facings, which are over there. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll be back. So my next step is a little bit confusing. I have these small dots here on my neckline. I have to stitch at a 1/2 inch from the notched edge of the collar. So that's this edge of the collar between the small dots. So let's do that first. I can barely see the small dots, by the way, so you probably can't. That's okay. Stitch length back to where it's supposed to be. Okay. Then it says to clip to the stitching between the small dots. or at the small dots, sorry. Okay. And then press under. Press it under this way between the raw edges, between the clips, and then trim. So I'll go press it and then we'll trim it. Actually, it's already pretty close to a 1/4 inch, so I don't know that I'm going to trim it, but there it is. Like that. Okay. And then to edge finish along unnotched edges on the front facing sections. Okay, so my notched are these. These are my unnotched edges, right? Yes. Stitch a 1/4 inch from edge, turn under along stitching, and stitch or zigzag over that edge. So we will do that now. We stitch at a 1/4 inch, which for me is the edge of my presser foot. Now we fold this one over, and it says to stitch or zigzag, so I am going to go ahead and do a 2mm zigzag stitch here. So that is how you finish the edge of your facing, your front facing that you'll be stitching. Actually, you won't stitch this part down, you'll be stitching these down. So I will go ahead and do the other one, and I'll be back for the next step. So the directions say I need to pin the collar to the front facings, matching my large dots. Large dots are here and here, and placing the shoulder edge to my small dots, which are right here. Let's go ahead and pin that. Alright, now that we're pinned, let me double check. Stitch seam from lower edge to small dot, back stitching at small dot to reinforce. Trim seam, clip curves, press seam, open. We'll go ahead and do that. Trim, seam, clip, curves, and press open. Trim this down a little bit, Okay, I will press that seam open now. Turn facing and collar to inside. Press on inside. Pin pressed edge of collar over seam. Oh, skipped a step. With right sides together, pin collar and front facings to garment and under collar over the ruffle, matching centers, back, large and small dots. Stitch front and outer edges. It's my right side to right side here. And pin. Right, I have to pin this whole collar and then down these sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and then I'll be back so it doesn't take me forever. I started sewing before I turned my video back on. So I have the sides all pinned, collar, and other side. So now we're stitching. It's just a straight stitch all the way down the seam. Turn facing a collar inside. Press. On the inside, pin pressed edge of collar over seam. Stitch close to pressed edge of collar between small dots. Okay. Tack facing to shoulder seam allowance. The tacking will be done by hand, so I won't be doing that right now. I'll wait. But I'll go ahead and press this. Let's turn it first, and then I'll press it. Ooh, cool. Alright, look at that. Alright, let's go press it. Take that out. Now that's done. So now this edge that I pressed over yesterday, I now need to pin, close up those seams here, pin it, and then stitch that closed. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, I need to, it says to machine stitch this. I think I'm going to stitch it by hand. I don't want to screw it up. So I'm going to stitch that by hand, and I'm going to tack the front facings to the shoulders, and I'll be back when I'm done. All right, so I have the collar hand stitched in. Let me turn it around and show you here. That's hand stitched. You can barely see my stitches. And then I did, since I started hand stitching, I tacked down the facings to my shoulder seams right here. All right, so now the next step, to ease, sleeves. Okay, to ease the top of sleeve between notches, stitch along seam line and 1/4 inch inside. So do double gathering stitches at the shoulder. I have to make my elbow dart and press that down, and then stitch the underarm seams. So I'll do one, show you how I did it, and then do the other and come back. I'm gonna do the dart first because I think that'll just be easier. So let's go ahead and do this first. That is matched up. It's too thick for a pin, so I'm just gonna go ahead and stitch just like I would any dart. I back stitch at the beginning, but I run right off the edge at the end of the dart. Okay, I've never done a dart on the sleeve or on the elbow before. And actually, as a dart, I need to give myself a tail so I can tie it off. what we've got. All right, so that's what my sleeve looks like so far. I am gonna go ahead and do the gathering stitches. And then we'll do the underarm seam, so that'll be fine. It's gotta be between the notches. Well, that works. I ran out of bobbin thread right at the end, so I will go ahead and reload my bobbin. Put this back down to 2.5 because now I am, let's let that sleeve out of the way. Let's go ahead and do our underarm seam. I have notches here in my sleeve that need to match up. Let me press that dart real quick. And now we'll stitch that seam. All right, and then we'll press that underarm seam. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other sleeve and I will be back. I'm gonna pop in this way real quick and let you know that I have both of the sleeves done, pressed, all nice looking. And I would have read the other or the next direction earlier, but I didn't because the next direction was specifically for jackets A, D, and E. Yeah, not mine, mine's B. However, it's to hem the sleeves. My directions say to add the ruffle. I'm not adding the ruffle because I don't have the ruffle. So I am going right into pressing the edge of my sleeve. I'm just going to press it up an inch and then zigzag the hem of that. It says 1/4 inch from the edge. I think I'm just gonna zigzag right at the edge so it keeps the edge nice and flat and down. And then I'll be back because I think, yeah, after I do the hem, the next step is to insert the sleeves into the jacket. And so I will be back for that step because I don't think you need to see me hem sleeves. You've seen me hem sleeves before. So I'll be back. I went ahead and added the sleeves when I hemmed the sleeves. So don't be mad. You've seen me insert sleeves before. But I'm clearly not done yet. I don't have the bows. You haven't seen me tie the waist tie yet. But I had to try it on because I was really, really impressed with the way it looked just holding it up. And I'm so happy there's no big puckers that look like they shouldn't be there in the sleeves. The facings are not stitched down yet, obviously, with the hem, but that's okay. Back my chair up. I wanted to share with you this, once I get the facings on here, right? For the most part, this is what it will look like once I get the buttons on, and then I'll have a waist tie. I'm quite excited about this. I do really, really like it. I'll be planning on making some more because we had a lot of fun making this, working with fleece. I'm enjoying it. All right, so let's go ahead and get on to the next step. Let's find out what it is. Not sure, because I pretty much just have finishing touches left. Okay, next thing is to mark my buttonholes and make the buttonholes. I do have a buttonhole guide here, and I haven't altered the pattern, so the guide should work. I need to go ahead and cut my 4 little notches or little holes. You can't even see that. My 4 little holes for my buttons in there, so I can just use my tracing chalk and mark it underneath. And that'll at least be on there. I will then do all of that by hand once I turn the video off. So after I mark the buttonholes, or show you how I mark the buttonholes, then I'll get the tie out and we'll do that. Sorry, I got a phone call there I had to take. Okay, so as I was going to say, I'm gonna go ahead and pin the facing down so that it's nice and it stays flat as I go ahead and figure out the placing for my buttons. So we want to open this up. You're going to actually just put it right here. So that's the side of the buttons. Now I'm going to line up the bottom here with the bottom here, and we're going to overlap it about an inch or so. Okay, yes. Yep, it will be right there. This, I think, is the hardest part, is making sure you get the marks in the right spot when you have to do the 2 layers like this. If you could just stick it right through, it's a little bit easier. Right. Probably can't really see too much of it, but I do have all of them marked here. Oh, you do see a little bit. Obviously not on the white. And I have all of them marked here. So I will be doing that in a little bit. Since I don't need my jacket for the tie, let's move back over to the sewing machine area. This is the tie. Let me go ahead and read the directions for making this tie. I have to put the ends together. Well, I first have to make interfacing. And get interfacing on the wrong side of both of these pieces. And then stitch one end together. Fold the tie inside out. Stitch basically a casing, turn the casing right side out, and then stitch the other end of the tie closed. So that is what I will do. Let's see, this is a 3/8 inch seam allowance. This is the only piece that has a different seam allowance from the rest of the pattern. Now, both of my tie pieces are ready. So we're gonna go ahead and stitch these 2 ends right here together. And I'm not going to use pins because it's a straight stitch or a straight seam. I'm not too worried about it here. I'm now again gonna go press it. I'm gonna press this seam flat, and I'm going to fold it and press it so that it will be easier to turn inside out. I did press the seam flat. I'm not gonna press it the other way. I'm actually just going to fold it by hand myself because this is pretty stiff, and stitch it this way, make the casing, and then we'll turn it inside out. Right side out, not inside out, because I'm stitching it inside out. So the last thing I have to do is turn, because the belt is done. I need to turn it right side out. I should have trimmed these corners before I turned it right side out. Oh well, that's okay. I've got it all turned the right way, so I'm gonna go press it before I sew up the end. I am actually going to hand stitch the end of my belt closed, so hopefully we won't see the stitches. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold it in like this, and I will be hand stitching it closed right there. And so, since the rest of the work that I have to do is to be done by hand, I will be ending this video, the construction part of this video right here. And the next time you will actually see me is the finished product. But I do want to let you know the last finishing touches I have to do. Obviously finish the belt, sewing that by hand. I need to sew on the buttons, which is really easy. I need to make the buttonholes, and then I do have to stitch my facing down. Oh, hem B, way up here before I do the tie. That's funny. So stitch across facing exactly above lower edge, being careful not to catch in finished edge of ruffle. You know what? Let's do that actually before I leave you. That would be crazy to not do. I can't believe I missed it. I thought it was later. This says, turn facing to the outside. So let's go ahead and take a couple of my pins out here. Oh, yeah, way up. I don't want my hem to be that short though. I do only want like an inch hem. So it does, I am only gonna go up an inch, I think. And then it says to trim the facing close to the stitching. So go ahead and use my applique scissors and get that real nice and close here. Okay, turn facing to the inside, pressing hem up. So I do that and then I press the hem up. Okay. I have to do the same thing to the other facing now. And then I'm going to turn this back around this way. But I won't need any of those pins anymore, so that'll be nice. Okay, so now I need to go and press my hem up, and then we will be zigzag stitching the hem once I get back. My hem is all pinned up and ready to be stitched. That's all of it you can really get to see right now. So I did say I was going to do a zigzag stitch, but I like the cleaner look, I think, of the straight stitch. So I am going to hem this with a straight stitch. All right. Look at, that's it. For the most part. There's the hem. You could barely even see it. So I will be back with the final product. Thank you for coming and watching my video. I really enjoyed making this jacket, and I've had it, it's been finished maybe a month, and I really enjoy wearing this jacket also. Turns out I've been wearing it on days that it's just not cool enough for it, and I've been sweating because it's just so warm. But this is really a perfect jacket with jeans and a long sleeve shirt or a t-shirt underneath. It's quite casual. I did throw it on with a dress that it does not match right now for my reveal video, but that's okay. I don't usually wear it with stuff like this. So I'm really looking forward to making more of these different versions of them. Turns out after I made it, I don't like it so much with the belt because to me it makes it look like a robe. So I do not wear this with the belt usually. But other than that, I have absolutely no regrets and no complaints on how I made this jacket. Thank you for watching, and come back next time. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos and would like to follow me, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you.